She seemed perfect. Her smile was sweet. Her eyes had a sparkle that made you think you had finally found something rare. But most men discover too late that some women are like fake perfume. They smell good from a distance, but when they touch your skin, they leave marks that are hard to remove. The truth. The wrong woman doesn't just destroy your heart. She reconfigures your identity, turning you into a lesser man than you were before you met her. And the cruelest part of all, you saw the signs. You ignored them out of need, you ignored them out of lust, you ignored them out of ego. But they were there. They were always there. And today you will see each one of them as if you were revisiting the crime scene. We live in a generation where men have forgotten their biological function, where masculinity has become a dirty word, and where any attempt to lead a relationship is labeled as control. And in this distorted scenario, the feminine has also become sick. Women have taken on the role of warrior, and many men have bowed down to this, thinking they were being modern. But the social game predates discourse. Human nature cannot be reconfigured with hashtags. If you don't understand this now, you will be swallowed up by relationships that undermine your sanity, drain your energy, and erase your mission. Because yes, she can have the body of your dreams and still be the nightmare you'll never forget. And if you've been through this, you know what I'm talking about. What you're about to hear now isn't about judgment. It's about emotional survival. 3 signs that don't scream, don't appear right away, but that silently announce, she's not the right woman for you. You don't see the poison when it's sweet. And that's why most men only realize their mistake when there's no longer any emotional outlet. She's pretty, sweet, and says everything you've ever wanted to hear. And that's exactly why you don't realize that something essential is missing. Coherence. What she says and what she does are going in opposite directions. But your brain, drugged by beauty and need, insists on ignoring the signs. She says she hates parties, but every Friday she disappears with her friends. She says she doesn't like drinking, but her Instagram screams shots and more shots in expensive glasses and fake smiles. And you, like most men, cling to the hope that she'll change, that she's just expressing herself, that you'll show her the way. What a huge mistake. Friedrich Nietzsche said that what is done for love is always beyond good and evil. But true love is congruent. False love is disguised as beautiful words and performative gestures, and that is where the first poison lies. Inconsistency. A woman who says one thing and lives another is telling you something very simple. She doesn't keep her word. And a woman who doesn't keep her word is a ticking time bomb, no matter how affectionate she seems today. But you insist, because modern men have been indoctrinated to believe that distrust is sexist, that questioning is insecurity. When in fact, observing patterns is one of the greatest signs of emotional intelligence. You are not insecure for noticing inconsistency. You are wise for not allowing a woman's beauty to jeopardize your peace of mind. Inconsistency is subtle, but it is fatal. It is like an invisible crack in the bulletproof glass of your trust. It slowly spreads until everything collapses. The most dangerous thing? She herself may believe the lies she tells. Some women have created a character so well trained to please that they no longer know where the act ends and the truth begins. And if you don't have a strong internal compass, you'll end up being shaped by her play. You'll become a supporting character in the emotional script of a woman who doesn't even know who she really is. The contradiction is subtle, but powerful. And that's the secret of the most lethal seducers in history, as described by Robert Greene in The Art of Seduction. They don't attack you directly, they ensnare you. They build a narrative so enchanting, so idealized that you beg to be fooled. And some women do this instinctively. It's not a conscious plan, it's a reflection of an unresolved identity, shaped by applause and validation, not by real values. And you're left trying to piece together the emotional puzzle of someone who was never whole. Worse, you start to blame yourself for feeling like something's wrong. And that's exactly what an incoherent woman does to your mind. She confuses you. She says she loves you, but disappears for days. She says she hates drama, but lives in conflict. She says she wants something serious, but she never includes you in her plans. And what do? You justify it. You cover it up. You accept emotional crumbs in exchange for a beautiful body and a few intense nights. But let me tell you something that perhaps no one has had the courage to say. An incoherent woman is a reflection of a broken inner world. And if you insist on staying, it's not love, it's codependency. You're not saving anyone, you're sabotaging yourself. Want to know if she's the right woman? Don't listen to what she says. See what she does when you're not looking. The right woman doesn't need to repeat that she's different. She shows it. The wrong woman? She forces you to doubt yourself in order to keep believing in her. And that's the first silent sign: incoherence. She can be charming, but if her words don't match her actions, then she's not for you. And the sooner you understand that, the easier it will be to preserve your sanity. Now hold on tight, because the next sign goes beyond behavior. It goes to the roots of her soul. Let's talk about family, trauma, and the fatal mistake that almost every good-hearted man makes: believing he can save a wounded woman. You believe it will be different, that with you, she will be sweet, faithful, and reciprocal. You see the wounds, the traumas, the outbursts with tears in her eyes, and you think that all that is missing in her life is someone like you. But what you still don't understand is that you are not entering into a relationship. You are entering an emotional battlefield where the enemy is invisible but lethal: her past. And this is where the second sign emerges with a clarity that only attentive men can grasp. Her relationship with her family, especially with her parents, is the X-ray of the female soul. Intelligent men notice this. Deluded men ignore it. Because the way she treats her father, how she talks about her mother, how she deals with the most intimate core of her origins, says more about the future of your relationship than any promise of love. And no, it's not about demanding a perfect family. It's about identifying whether this woman has resolved her pains or if she has simply learned to dramatize them to suck attention. The difference between a woman who has overcome trauma and one who lives through it is that the former seeks peace while the latter feeds on chaos. And you, without realizing it, become the next one to be blamed for wounds that were not yours. Jose Ortega y Gasset wrote that love is surrender caused by fascination. But when the fascination comes from the idea of saving her, what exists is not love. It is ego disguised as kindness. You do not love her. You love the role of hero. And the tragedy of this is that in this dynamic, love becomes a bargaining chip. You offer stability expecting gratitude, but what you receive is rejection disguised as rebellion. Because a woman who has not forgiven her parents also does not forgive the world. And in her world, you are just another chapter that she will close when she gets tired of you not being able to fix her. The root of this is brutal. The absent father becomes the eternal excuse for emotional promiscuity. The critical mother becomes the license for emotional manipulation. And if she never had a family structure, she will test yours until she destroys it. And do you know what the most common mistake is? Thinking that this behavior is a sign that she needs you. No, this is a sign that she is not ready for anyone. How many men have fallen into the trap of "but she suffered a lot"? How many have given up boundaries, values, time, and even friends to try to protect a woman who never asked for protection? Only attention. And the cruelest part, some of them do not want to be saved. They just want to be the center of your life, even if it means destroying your peace. They play with the archetype of the wounded woman because they know that the good man falls into this script. Because the good man has compassion, and misdirected compassion is just another name for self-sabotage. Machiavelli warned that the nature of men is ungrateful and fickle. But the nature of the emotionally wounded woman is even more unstable. She needs to provoke conflict to feel alive. Peace for her is not security, it is boredom. And if you offer stability, she feels repulsed. Because deep down, she doesn't believe she deserves love without pain. And that's why she always goes back to her toxic ex. That's why she pulls away when you're consistent, respectful, trustworthy. You're what she says she wants, but not what she can stand to have. And then, you start to doubt yourself. You start to walk on eggshells. You start to relativize your own values, to try to adapt to the demands of a woman who doesn't even know what she wants. You emotionally disfigure yourself to fit into a space that was never made for you. And that turns you into an insecure, silent, and frustrated man, the opposite of what you were before her. So listen to what I'm going to tell you now, with the coldness that a general listens to the sound of war. She is not your responsibility. What happened in her childhood, her father's abandonment, her mother's screams, her ex's betrayal, all of this shaped who she is. But you're not the one who's going to heal her. You're not the one who's going to rebuild her. And if you try, you don't become a cure, you become a mirror. And when she looks at herself in the reflection you offer, all she'll see are her own flaws. And that's when she blames you, attacks you, abandons you. You're not a therapist. You're a man. And a man who respects himself doesn't enter a relationship to try to fix someone's past. He builds the future with someone who has already made peace with their own history. So watch. Always watch. A woman who fights with her parents, who treats her family as an enemy, who carries traumas as a shield, will turn your relationship into a battlefield. And before you know it, you'll already be fighting wars that aren't yours. And losing them all. She doesn't need to say she's desired. You see it. You feel it. Her Instagram profile is a showcase of validation, spiritual phrases under sensual photos, videos that unintentionally show her body, strategic stories to provoke jealousy, subtle tests to measure her emotional control. And there's the third sign, perhaps the most disguised, but also the most corrosive. She's driven by attention, not by connection. And you'll never fill an ego that's always hungry. At first, you think it's just self-esteem, that it's just vanity, that everyone likes a cookie. But there's a huge difference between a woman who knows she's beautiful and a woman who needs to be validated all the time to exist. The first shares beauty, the second negotiates power, and you become one of the many paying this emotional bill that never closes. Because when she's addicted to attention, you might be the ideal guy, but it will never be enough. Plato once said that love is born from the desire to possess the good that we lack. Now think about it. If the hole inside her is a constant void for approval, no matter how much love you offer, she doesn't want the good, she wants the applause. And when the stage cools down, she switches audiences. You start out as the focus and end up being the shadow. And the most treacherous thing, she'll never admit it. She'll say it's just content, that it's just work, that you're exaggerating. But look closely. If every post exposes your body, if every pose is meticulously calculated to get attention, if every unfollow creates drama, that's not freedom. It's dependence. A subtle but destructive dependence. And you'll be the preferred victim because men who truly love are easy prey for women who love the spotlight. You notice it in the details. The way she reacts to your silence, the way she feels threatened by other women. How much she needs to be the center of attention, even in social gatherings that don't concern her. Because this type of woman doesn't get into relationships, she gets into campaigns. And every gesture, every photo, every sentence is not about us. It's about building her ideal image, which needs to be constantly fed by likes, compliments, messages, and hidden desires. And make no mistake, behind every highly vain woman, there is a history of unresolved insecurity. Because true self-love doesn't scream. It's silent, firm, discreet. When a woman posts 10 stories a day with the caption, "I don't care about other people's opinions," you can bet that this is exactly what she wants most. Validation from those she pretends to ignore. This is where the game becomes a trap. Because the more you invest, the more she tests. She knows she has you, but she needs to see how much you can take, how much you tolerate, how much you nullify yourself. And when you finally explode, she uses your reaction as an excuse to walk away. See? You're insecure. You suffocate me. But you didn't start the game. She did. And she never intended to play fair. This woman lives in a cycle where pleasure comes from possibility, not from surrender. Her ego is fed by the potential for desire she generates in others, and the relationship becomes a stage where you are just an extra, while she shows off to an audience that never commits. It's a cruel game. But you need to understand, a woman who needs to show off all the time is not ready to give herself. Because those who need the crowd to feel alive will never value the intimate silence of true love. And you, whether you like it or not, will always lose to the feed. The French philosopher René Girard spoke of mimetic desire, the idea that we don't desire things for their own sake, but because others desire them too. This woman is the living example of this. She doesn't want a good man, she wants the man other women want. She doesn't want to love, she wants to win. And love, my friend, is not a game of who has the most followers, the most status, or the most cookies. Love is surrender. And those who live off their ego don't surrender. They consume. That's why you should run away from women who live off their appearances. From women who talk about spirituality while showing off their bodies, who talk about self-esteem while living off filters. This woman will suck every last bit of masculinity out of you and blame you for not being enough. And in the end, she'll say that you were in different moments. But the truth is, she never wanted a moment. She wanted an audience. And when her stage collapses, you'll be thankful you're no longer there.